Hi, I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing the Thrawn Trilogy in the Star Wars Legends series. Now, here's the thing. I usually don't get negative in my reviews. And I'm not going to get negative about any of these Star Wars Legends books. However, you are going to see me express, when I review these Star Wars Legends books, be prepared to see me get negative and be critical of some of the Star Wars movies themselves. And here's why I do that. I don't like to, when I give reviews of books, I generally give favorable, positive reviews. When I review movies, though, however, especially movies that have $100, $200, $300 million budgets, and they can hire whoever they in the world to whatever most talented writer in the world to write a script for them, and they still manage to it up royally, then yeah, I'm going to criticize that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm going to review one of my guilty pleasures growing up and even still today are the Star Wars Legends books. Now, if you know anything about Star Wars, Disney film just kind of, there's 100 of these Star Wars Legends books, and Disney bought Star Wars, and they said, these books are no longer canon. They don't even matter. Okay, fine, whatever. The Force Awakens came out, and I liked that. Rogue One came out, I semi-liked that. The Han Solo movie came out, I semi-liked that. The Last Jedi came out, and I thought that was a pile of shit. And The Rise of Skywalker wasn't much better. So, a little bit of my opinions on some of the movies is going to come out in some of these reviews of the Legends. Because I love the Legends. I love all these books. They should have filmed these books. Or at least hired the writers of these books to write their scripts. Because the scripts that they got in a couple of the movies that they've put out are horrible. The Mandalorian is killing it. It's awesome. But anyway, let's talk about the Thrawn Trilogy by Timothy Zahn, which was the very first trilogy to come out. The Return of the Jedi was a movie that came out in 1983, and then Star Wars basically went silent for 10 years. Until the Thrawn Trilogy came out. At the time, it was known as the Heir to the Empire Trilogy, but we all know it as the Thrawn Trilogy now. It came out in the early 90s and put Star Wars back on the map, and people ate it up. People gobbled it up. Because it's good. It's a great story. Timothy Zahn did a great job. And just so you know, I travel around the Comic-Cons, and I have met Timothy Zahn. I've sat next to him at Bard's Tower and signed books on the Comic-Con floor with Timothy Zahn. I have been on writing advice panels with Timothy Zahn. He's a cool guy. I like the dude a lot. And he wrote some great books that should have been... Disney should have consulted these books here, but they didn't anyway. Like I said, I liked The Force Awakens by J.J. Abrams. I thought that was a good movie. The other two, not so much. Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn Trilogy. What more can I say about it? It's good. I'm not going to get into the minutia of the characters and stuff with these things. I love these books. We got Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's one of the admirals of Darth Vader's fleet and the Emperor Palpatine's fleet that survived the last battle of the Jedi. He survived that battle. Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's a dude who wears immaculate clothing, got blue skin, very cunning, probably ranked even maybe above Darth Vader and the Emperor as one of the most badass villains in the Star Wars universe. Of course, Disney did away with all this, so it doesn't even count anymore. But real fans know the Grand Admiral Thrawn was a badass, and this trilogy takes place 5 years after the Return of the Jedi ends, where Luke, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, 3PO, R2-D2, Lando Calrissian are all still sort of fighting the fight against the Empire, because some of these admirals and some of these people have still survived and still want to wreak havoc. And so Grand Admiral Thrawn is the main protagonist in this story. He's the main baddie trying to get the Empire back on track and cause havoc and destruction throughout the galaxy again with his minions. And his minions are cool. You know, unlike the lame movies we got some bad villains in this. You know, we've got assassins. We've got Dark Jedi. I mean, we've got Saboth, the Dark Jedi. We've got assassins. We've got Talon Card, the smuggler. We've got Mara Jade, probably, after Princess Leia, one of the greatest female characters in Star Wars canon. Of course, the canon doesn't count anymore because the legends no longer count, which is a Disney, was something Disney, buffaloed and got rid of and screwed up royally. All these great characters created by all these great writers, just, fuck it. Put them in the trash. We don't care. We're going to come up with our own much more lame bullshit. Which they did, pretty much. Like I said, I'm not bagging on The Force Awakens. I thought that was a solid Star Wars movie. We just got fucked up after that. I could go on and on. But you guys have probably watched a million videos where people criticize those movies. So just know that I'm one of the critics. And they could have done so much with the characters. One of the reasons these books here, these Legends books, are so beloved, one of the reasons they're so beloved is because Luke, Leia, and Han, and even Lando and Chewbacca, they all appear together in a lot of scenes. They have a lot of adventures together. They interact, and the dialogue that the writers do with all of these characters, it matches what's in the movie. It all makes sense to the original trilogy. Everything that these writers took the time to research the characters and put them in the right places at the right time with the right dialogue, and interact and have Luke and Leia and Han Solo interact and go on adventures together. That's what the fans wanted. That's why these books were also popular. And we get this new trilogy that came out, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, and not once did these characters interact with each other or go on an adventure together, which is a fucking shame. It's a travesty. You had one job: to put the characters on scene together, let them interact, and let the fans enjoy a good story. And there was so much potential to have that happen. So much potential. And just squandered, flushed straight into the toilet by these movies that were poorly written. Now, I can't say they were poorly filmed, because they were certainly gorgeously filmed, but the scripts were dog shit. And you talk to any writer out there, and they're going to say the same thing. I didn't like it. But the Legends, like I said, they are my guilty pleasure. I collect the Legends books, and I read them and reread them and pretend that that's actual Star Wars canon, and the stuff that we've been given in the movies lately is not. And if you watched my review of the Han Solo trilogy, you'll know what I'm I expound on it a little bit more in there too. But anyway, I'll link to that. The Thrawn Trilogy. I didn't get into it too much. This is more of me. These Star Wars Legends reviews are going to be a little bit more of me being a little bit more critical of some things than I normally get. And, but always being really positive about the books, because I love the books. I give these all like an 8 to 9 out of 10. The Thrawn Trilogy. It's that good. Timothy Zahn did a great job with it. Great stories. They should have been filmed as movies, or at least The ideas should have been used. Some of them should have been used. I understand that, you know, Lucasfilm wanted to come out with another trilogy. Not Lucasfilm. It's not even that anymore. It's Disney wanted to come out with their own trilogy and their own story, so people could be surprised by the story. Because if they just filmed these as they were written, people would not be surprised, because people would have went out and read the books. Most people had already read the books, so it wouldn't have been as. I understand why they wanted to go a different direction. They just shouldn't have screwed it up so bad. You know, especially with the trilogy with Kylo Ren and Rey and Finn and those guys. It started off strong in The Force Awakens and ended on a very weak note. Very discouraging. Anyway, partial rant, partial book review. Hope it doesn't piss anyone off. Actually, I don't give a shit if it pisses anyone off or not. I don't care. It's my opinion. Some of y'all might like those movies. That's fine. That's fine if you love those movies. I did not. Anyway, the Thrawn Trilogy. Thumbs up for me. And look at the cover. That's a nice cover.